5:30, I'll call the meeting to order. On a reading of the district's promise statement. Let's see, I gotta make it bigger. We promise to provide a supportive environment where unique learning experiences empower all for their chosen life adventure. Are there any additional items for the agenda?
I don't have anything additional, but I do want to bring up that I added a few things this afternoon. We got a quote from Rhombus, who we're looking at going to for computers, new camera system, and a quote from Halo, which would be the vape detectors, and I'll talk more about those at that time, but I did add those to the agenda today.
Okay.
And then, did you add the staff personnel?
I did.
Okay, and then Annika, under staff personnel, we hired a softball coach today. So Annika did add that onto the staff personnel.
I must have missed that, because I just checked that at 4:30.
I already did it 5.
Killing me.
Any other additional items for the agenda? Okay, do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, motion by Tim Burke. Any second?
I'll second.
Second by Tim Elke. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay. I should ask for discussion, sorry. If no further discussion, motion carries, what are we at? 5-0? Okay. Recognition of visitors and open forum. Michael Roy from the paper, a couple others. Hello. Number 6, reports and presentations. Student representatives report.
So we do have our student representatives. This will be their first night starting as student representatives, and we appreciate them being here. So tonight I asked them just to give an introduction of who they are, what they're involved in here at JWP, what year they are, and then they can tell us anything else they would like us to know. So we'll just go in that order up there. So, Eric.
Okay, so I'm Eric Dashner. I'm a junior, and I don't know, I'm a two-sport athlete. I'm in a lot of arts activities, band, choir, speech, swing shows, stuff like that. Also in a bunch of leadership things like student council, NHS, Bulldog Leadership Academy. And I guess on the student side for me is that we're trying to start up the swing show this year because it didn't happen last year, so we're trying to get it for this year. And just recently, student council got new inductees, and we also voted for officer positions. So, yeah.
Thank you.
I'm Madden Holland. I'm a little sick. I'm in 11th grade. I'm trying to think about other things you said. I do one sport and I manage another one. I am part of NHS student council. And I think one thing that I've noticed a lot of, and a lot of compliments on for sure, is the lunch with more options for portion sizes, which has been definitely well received by the students.
Thank you.
I'm Abby Compton. I'm a sophomore. I'm also involved with student council. I'm hoping to get accepted into NHS next year. One thing I got a lot of comments about was also the food service.
Thank you.
I'm Ethan Bourne. I'm a junior. I'm in football, basketball, soon to be baseball and track. All the leadership things that they were saying, student council, NHS, Bulldog Leadership. And then we're just really getting into snow week soon, so kids are excited about that. Not a ton, just a little. And that's about all I've got.
And when is Snow Week?
Should be February like 5th or something like that.
Okay.
It's like the 5th through the, whatever.
Whatever the.
It's the week of the
It's-
5th.
Okay.
Okay, wonderful, thank you. School board members, do you have any questions for our student representatives?
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
So one thing we're gonna do with our representatives is we're gonna try and get them into some of the school board trainings that we have to go through with MSBA. So I'll work with them on that, and I've already talked to them about that. And then getting them out there and getting them exposure at the school level, so our student body as a whole understands who the student representatives are and really what they do on our school board. So I appreciate you guys being here tonight.
All right. 6B, Superintendent Report.
Okay, so, we've had a lot of READ Act information come out. We're still working our way through that. I would be the first one, or, Casey and I, our Director of Teaching and Learning, would be the first two to say that it's a messy process, but we do have some plans moving forward. We're looking at using letters as the training system that we would be using. It's very intense. It's about 144 hours for our teachers over a 2-year process. So we'll be working towards that. Creating a schedule for that. So it may end up being that we come forward with to adopt a different school calendar for next year with some other options. So that's a possibility as we look forward to this training. Non-certified negotiations, we have come to tentative agreement for them. So they'll be going through a vote on Wednesday to decide if they're going to ratify their contracts or not, and then we can move forward with that. Food service, we did have a committee meeting that's coming up in a little bit, and we can talk about that then. But as far as our elementary, observations are going well with the elementary. We have a program called Targeted Services for students that are maybe a little bit behind in either reading or math, that they can come to either before or after school, and we have 5 to 7 students that are enrolled in that, doing that. High school is busy with a number of things, but probably the hot topic right now is that our cell phone policy enforcement will be starting in full effect tomorrow. So we appreciate the school board's support with the policy. And then when I was meeting with Mr. Rysdam this morning, he had mentioned that he really enjoys what he's doing as a school leader and principal here at JWP. Also this week, the high school is starting registration for next year. So that will be up and going. They're going to start with 6th, 7th, and 8th grade tomorrow, and then work their way through, hopefully having everybody registered by the end of the week. From the athletic side of things and activities, like I mentioned earlier, we've hired a new softball coach. So that will be good. There's a few more assistant coaching positions that we'll be working on. Nikki's also working on posting for a swing show director, like Eric had mentioned. So we will be moving forward with those. And then Nikki's also busy getting schedules set up for the later this spring and next year, along with running the leadership academies. From the technology perspective, we got some quotes late today for adding, putting in a new camera system. So it would upgrade our camera system. We'll talk about that a little bit later in the meeting. It would also incorporate Halo vape detectors. So it's a rhombus system that incorporates the vape detectors. And the Halo vape detectors are the top-notch vape detectors out there right now. Moving things forward with community ed, spring, early childhood family education is all set up, ready to go. working on getting some schedules set up for summer and what that's gonna look like, where they're gonna take their field trips and different things. So there's a lot going on with that. In a few minutes, Laura's gonna talk about school-based health center. So I'll let her talk about that. But as far as the healthcare front here at school, the vision and hearing screenings are complete and re-screenings are complete that we do each year. Then, from a business side of things, our financial audit is complete. So Wendy's going to talk about that in a little bit. And then she is working on finishing up our food service audit. And there'll be a state reviewer here next week for the food service audit. And then finally, as far as building and facilities, the building maintenance is going well. It was a shorter Christmas break. And then solar projects going well. Everything is submitted, and we're just waiting to hear back from the grant company, and then also to get some curriculum from them that we can use teaching our students about solar project in the fall.
Jeremy, are you saying we still haven't been approved for the grant yet for
We
the
have,
solar?
we have been approved for the grant.
Oh, we
We
would.
just have to, now we have to do the next step,
Okay.
so.
Any questions?
Yes,
So swing show director could come from outside,
yes,
so it'll be similar to a coaching position.
yep, absolutely.
Financial audit, once we've got a lot of our negotiations complete, is there an update to the budget? So we have some idea of kind of how we did and preparation for next year?
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So, and going back to the swing show, I put some feelers out there to see if there's anybody from the community interested, so we'll see what we hear back.
Jeremy, on the READ Act,
Yes,
this is the one, is this the one that they talked about a couple months ago? That like Maple River's in their second year, or was it USC that's in their second year of doing this one?
yes, this is it.
Okay,
And this is the one that Mankato is doing, Waseca's doing, so a number of the surrounding schools
and this is
are.
the one that every elementary teacher and special education teacher and high school English language or English language arts ELA teachers have to do, right?
Yes, the English language arts teachers, they're considered phase 2, so they don't have to do the first round. However, we're encouraging them to do the first round. So they
Okay.
could wait 2 years to do it.
Okay. All right.
There's more details to come with that because we still don't know how much the state's gonna put in for funding towards it to help cover the cost, because it's not a cheap process by any means.
Yeah, that was our question. I forgot. When we talked about this, they didn't really have an actual cost of what this is gonna charge us, right?
Right, we don't know that yet.
And they still haven't gotten back to us with it?
Nope. The state came out with 5 curriculums we can use. We haven't heard of many, if any of those 5, but all of the other 19 that they have already reviewed have the opportunity to resubmit theirs to go through the process again. So,
And they haven't extended the timeline on this yet?
nothing's been
either.
extended yet.
Okay.
The only thing that extended is from now until May, they'll be looking at those other 19 curriculums.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Has there been any rumblings from the students about the new cell phone policy?
Oh,
There's,
yeah.
there's been a lot of complaints about it.
Lots.
People think it's not gonna actually, it's like a lot of times in the past, we've had like, oh, we're gonna crack down on it, and then it doesn't exactly happen, so people are thinking that's gonna happen again.
That's not the case.
No, not with Mr. Rysdam.
Okay.
We know it's gonna be a rough couple weeks, but we'll figure it out.
The poster outside, in the hallway, is that new?
The
Poster.
Alice posters?
Nope, the one that talks about the cell phone policy, coming to school, respecting one another, has little check boxes.
No,
But it-
the school expectations.
That's always been there?
Yep.
So that references cell phone will be left at home, or put in a designated spot. So that's always been part of our sort of policy. So that's not new. Okay.
Is there gonna be any, like kickback to the staff if they don't, enforce it
Yes,
in any ways? Okay,
and that's been explained to them.
okay. Perfect.
Any other questions, comments? All right, next up, we have Laura Hoffman here to talk about the Minnesota School-Based Health Alliance.
Okay, so I was kind of presented with an opportunity to explore a school-based health center. I had done a training on school-based health centers in Minnesota, and there's a lot of money that was awarded by the state to start and fund school-based health centers. So what a school-based health center is essentially it's a clinic within the school building or within walking distance of the school building. That students can access during the school day for preventative care, acute medical needs, sports physicals, things like that, free of charge. So the school-based health center can bill the insurance, but anything that's outside of that is not billed to the students or families directly. So in my research, I've been on a lot of different calls throughout the last few weeks on school-based health centers, and what I'm finding is that it's a really cool service to the students, super well needed. Rochester has a school-based health center right now. They have about 200 to 300 students in their building, and they're seeing anywhere from 2 to 5 kids a day. They're open 3 days a week for 4 hours. Prior to COVID, they were open 4 days a week for 4 hours. But now that they're just kind of getting back in the swing of things, they've started slow, so hoping to be back open 4 hours, or that 4 days. We have quite a bit more students in our building, so I feel like we could really make something like that work. I think what I've seen in the health office is the access to healthcare that our students don't. I mean, it's hard for parents to get off work. It's hard for them to drive them to the doctor. There's kids that are living in crisis and needing access to the care that isn't always accessible. Urgent cares are filled up hours of wait times, especially during the sick season. So this would allow me to say, hey, I think maybe you could have strep throat, and maybe we should go get swabbed for strep. School-based health centers can supply antibiotics and medications there. They could just see the kid, swab them for strep, test positive. Okay, here's some antibiotics. Mom, dad, come pick you up from school. Everything's taken care of right here at school. So I've also learned, I thought that it would be more of like they scheduled their appointments in advance, like more of a preventative health. I do have a lot of students that aren't up to date on immunizations, and what I'm gathering when I get calls from parents is that it's inconvenient to take them to go and get those shots. So a lot of times when I'm saying, hey, your 12th grader needs their meningococcal booster vaccine, 12th graders don't want to go, and parents don't have the time to take them. They won't drive themselves. And so then they're signing the exemption form instead of getting the vaccine, when really they do want to get the vaccine. It's just hard to do it. So having those things and options available here at school would be great. The way that it works is the parents sign a consent form, and you get essentially, like, you can access the services all school year. So you would have to opt into it. It's not just like all kids can access it. Your parents do have to sign a consent. There's no, like, you don't get vaccines or anything like that without parents consenting to that. You're still, like, the parents still get to help make those medical decisions. So just like you would visit a regular doctor. So I guess what I'm asking for is your guys' support in moving forward with this. There's some grant fundings that we're exploring. It's a lot of work, that goes into it, so I don't wanna waste my time unless I have the support of the board, and then I'll move forward with getting a committee together that contains community stakeholders, and people from the community, students, staff, community members to help plan the school-based health center. That's kind of the first action step. The school grant that we're looking at doing, it's about $200,000, and it's an ongoing, it opens every 2 years to help fund the school-based health center, any staff, anything like that that we would need to help with that. The school-based health center does have a health sponsor, so like Mayo Clinic, Open Door, somebody would sponsor the clinic, so they would be the operating, they would carry the people that bill insurance, the staff members, the doctors, like they would employ all of those people. They would just be housed in our building or within walking distance of our building. So, any questions? Yeah, go ahead.
Great idea, like it, space.
Yeah, exactly. That's a big question. So my hope, Laura Size has been helping me a little bit with the Mayo Clinic front and getting me in contact with some people from there. There's a clinic space within walking distance of the school district that could be considered a school-based health center. It's closed right now, so there is a multi-purpose facilities grant that we could get to kind of revamp that space if that's the issue. We haven't heard much back from Mayo Clinic, but they do currently sponsor a school-based health center in Rochester. And when Heather Hendon, she's the Minnesota Department of Health school contact that I have, she was the head of the schools in Mankato, and she kind of tried to start something like this there. They are going in that direction now, but she had a lot of buy-in from Mayo Clinic when she was there, so I'm hoping that that's like our first option would be to do that building, and then it's there, it's not in our school building, but within walking distance. That would be option number one. If they don't buy in, then we'll start back at looking at different spaces within our building.
Which building are we talking about?
The clinic.
The clinic across the
That's
street,
closed?
that's, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, it's closed, they haven't been open.
For
I didn't know that
a few
either.
months.
Huh?
It's been a few months.
Oh, yeah, months.
Progress report on
I didn't know
So
that.
we did write a lot, Laura Size had reached out to a couple of the, like the CFO at Mayo Clinic Health Systems and told them not to, completely close the clinic without talking to us, because we do have some grant money that we could access to revamp that space if that's the issue. And even some funds that we could, with the grant money, that we could help to support keeping that open for our students here in the community.
that? So that wouldn't be a full-time, just a couple or a few days a week?
But they, I mean, if they own, I mean, they own the building and the clinic space and they operate it, so then they could use the other times to service like community members, and we could then it would kind of multi-purpose, bring back that community healthcare to our community here that needs access to healthcare, that are hard to get out or drive to Mankato. So,
But we just got a new place in town, right?
we do,
With
yeah.
Dr.
Benson, yeah, he's super great. The only issue with that is that he does not accept health insurance.
Mhm.
So, we do have a lot of 34% of our school population here is on free and reduced lunch. I don't think everybody has $55 to go to the doctor.
So how would that work as far as if we do this, what kind of, because grant money isn't gonna probably cover everything, and so what's the cost gonna be to the school district? Specifically, if we have to go outside, which we don't have space to have something like this in here, go outside, what's the cost gonna be to the school district?
So, like I said, Mayo Clinic owns the building and they would be the health sponsor, so they would incur that like the bulk of the cost. I think more of the cost is gonna come from having to have somebody here within the school building. Like, we can't let a first grader walk over to the clinic by themselves. So like having somebody that's available to do that, either extra health office staff or something, to kind of help facilitate that, or like there's a full service community schools that we can apply for to be considered a full service community school, which is kind of an umbrella term. A full service community school might have a school-based health center, but they might not. They have a full-service community schools coordinator that they fund, so having somebody like that available, I don't think there's gonna be much cost to the district. I hope there's not.
So how, but, I guess I'm just going, if you have the building over there, and Mayo's gonna pick up the whole cost for running it, the insurance, everything?
So they would be a health sponsor, so they would just see our students, they would be able to bill their insurance. So it would be an operational clinic, they would be able to operate the clinic as far as, I mean, if it was in our building, they would just send their doctor into our building, bill their insurance, and then we would just have like our building costs. But, yeah, I don't necessarily think, I guess I'm not 100% sure. I don't think we pay for like their utilities or anything like that. That would be the cost of the health sponsor.
So in potential reality, they would just be reopening that.
They would be reopening that clinic, yeah, and then seeing our
Be
students.
Specific for our students.
Yes, specifically for our students, and then anything outside of what hours they allotted for us, they could do whatever they want with.
Where does the liability usually lie in those situations?
Like you mean with like the doctors?
Yeah, is it the school district that's liable, or is it?
It's
Mayo?
it's Mayo. That's why they don't let school, like Minnesota School-Based Health Alliance would not let the school district employ a doctor. So we can't, because of malpractice insurance and things like that. So yeah, all that falls back on the health sponsor, the malpractice insurance, all that kind of stuff.
So realistically, we would be looking at, if we were gonna have 2 to 3 days of open hours for them, so what happens if it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and somebody's sick on Monday? What happens? I mean, I'm just throwing out questions, because this is something I've never heard of before.
Yeah, so, I mean, the clinic is only open when it's open, so you would have to wait until the next day when it is open, or other resources, there's Kenna in town, if you can afford that, there's Mankato Clinic open,
Okay.
so,
But then you're also thinking if it's off-site, we would have to have a specific person that we would have to hire, the school would have to hire to be available if we have any kids that are sick and have to go over there.
or, para could, somebody, not necessarily that we have to have somebody on standby at all times to do that, but somebody.
It might be somebody that we hire that works the same hours that they're open,
Yeah,
so they are available of that.
yeah.
Would they have to be they would probably have to stay with them over there.
Yeah, or parents can, if they're coming to pick up, if they're sick, if I'm
Meet
sending
them
them
over
home to
there?
the doctor, they could just meet them over there, yeah. If it's like a pre-planned thing, a sports physical, something like that, they don't necessarily have to be present. The health sponsor communicates with parents. We'll get them on the phone in real time and communicate with them that way.
Right. The reason Laura's here is she doesn't want to take a ton of her time going into this if the board isn't supporting her looking into it. If the board's going to support looking into it and seeing if this is something that's even feasible for us in the future, she's more than willing to continue looking into it. But we've had, 3 meetings about this? And
Yeah,
then-
we're in the very early stages, but from what I'm gathering, it's gonna be a big undertaking, so I don't wanna go into writing a grant for the next 10 months and then you guys say not aligning with what we want our school district to go to, towards.
And you see it kind of being 2 years at a time, since they only open up funding once
Yeah.
every 2 years, so whatever you receive, it would be kind of a 2-year trial, and then you'd relook to get another
And
grant.
then you'd reapply for the same,
But
yeah.
once we're in, you think of it as a 2-year stint.
School-based health alliance sounds like it's an ongoing funding. They pretty much said it's an ongoing, it just opens up every 2 years for you to access.
Okay.
So, yeah, super cool opportunity.
How long has this been going on? Did it just start?
No,
or-
there are school-based health clinics. There's one I think they're starting one in Fairmont right now. Rochester's already had one since before COVID, several up in the cities. So,
Is there any school districts our size that you know of that have done this, so that we could contact them and go, how's this worked for you? What's the cost been? What's the benefits? What's the, you know,
No, I have not. I mean, I reached out to Caitlin Norris, who is kind of heading through, she's employed by Mayo Clinic to kind of head the school-based health center in Rochester at the Rochester School. So she's an employee by Mayo, but she oversees that clinic. And so we talked to her to just kind of see what the days in and days out are. And she said that they have the 200 to 300 students in their building at a time, and they're seeing 2 to 5 visits a day. So that's pretty much kind of what we got from that meeting.
Yeah, they're located in Rochester's ALC,
Yeah,
so it's older students in that
yep.
building for them.
Are the grants based off district size, or is it just kind of standard?
It's
200,000?
based off what we, like, what our numbers would show, our projected numbers, and what we're requesting, I guess.
So any of our students can go there.
Any
They
students can
present
access it.
their
Yep.
insurance that they would regularly use.
Yep,
And they're not responsible for their
Nope.
copay?
nope,
I guess I don't see a downside to this at all. I think I mean, if we were able to get the grants, that's
Well,
huge,
I think the
especially
first
for.
thing would be is if we could get the building over there, otherwise, I don't know where you put it in the school building here.
Yeah, no,
You know,
right.
I mean,
we don't
that,
have the space, but-
to me, that's our biggest thing, is
Mhm.
if Mayo would agree to have that building open, then I would say, yeah, let's look at this, you know, and figure out what the costs would be and, you know, dig into it. But if we don't have Mayo agreeing to that, we don't really have a spot then to do this.
What if it's only one day a week? What if it's only 4 hours, one day a week?
Then is it really beneficial? I mean, where you have
Uh-huh.
4.5 days where we're not offering anything, and then,
I don't know, because I'm assuming there's no requirements of how long you have, I mean, again,
No, I
I'm
know.
surprised that Mayo didn't come to us 2 or 3 years ago
and ask
going,
us to do this.
well, exactly,
Yeah.
so that they could have supplemented what they're already doing at the clinic. You know, hey, here's an extra 200,000,
And they said, like, the Mayo Clinic Health Systems and Mayo Clinic Rochester are just not, like, super great in the communications between the two. So
Sure.
she said, like, the people from Mayo Clinic Health Systems, like, had no idea that this is already, like, a thing in Rochester, that Mayo Clinic already does this. So,
sure.
I mean, on their end, I think it would be pretty easy to get that information and to go ahead with it. I think we just need to get in contact with the people from Mayo Clinic to say that we're interested and willing to do this. Which we have, I haven't heard any responses.
It sounds like Laura may have gotten a response on Friday that she got the indication that they weren't looking at reopening this
Yeah.
clinic. So that might be a way for us to get that clinic, is
Yeah.
if they weren't gonna reopen it.
Yeah, and we could look at that too, just like getting that building space and then having the health sponsor, like a different health sponsor come in.
so you mean purchasing that building space?
Well, we would have
Or-
to see what the options are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or renting it or something, I don't know. I don't know why Mayo Clinic would wanna hang on to it if they're not,
They could donate it to us.
Yep.
or donate it, yeah.
Does Mayo Clinic own it, or does Mayo Clinic Health Systems own it?
Mayo Clinic Health Systems, I believe.
And, okay, and so then, but it's Mayo Clinic that's looking at doing, that wants to do this.
Mayo Clinic already sponsors a school-based health center in Rochester.
Mm-hmm.
Mayo Clinic Health Systems does not sponsor any school-based health clinics at
And
this
so you're
point.
looking at Mayo Clinic to
Health.
sponsor ours, or do you want Mayo
Mayo Clinic
Clinic?
Health Systems to sponsor ours. Yep,
Okay.
In, kind of in coordination with what Mayo
Right.
Clinic's
What-
already doing.
right. So hopefully they could just take that model and apply it
Mm-hmm.
here.
Okay.
I would say there's interest, but I don't know that we can say we're for sure willing to do it no matter what. But I would say there's interest to continue to look at it.
Okay.
But without more details, I mean, obviously, it's very new to us as well, so we're trying to understand what this might look like, how it could benefit. Again, the best case scenario would be is they want to reopen their clinic, and this can help supplement it. That would be a great partnership.
Totally.
The other thing is, we do have a high step program where some of our students are going to school for nursing or to be a CNA, where they're going off-site. This may be an opportunity where they would get some time or hours there also.
And that's current students,
Mhm.
K through 12?
Well, they're 11th to 12th graders, do the
Okay.
high step.
But with that though, the Mayo, whether it's Mayo Clinic or Mayo Health Systems, whoever's gonna be doing it would have to agree to allow
Mhm.
them over there also, right?
Yep, absolutely, they would.
Like what Kevin said, I think it's worth looking into, but I think before you put a ton of work into it, we need to find out about the building and what,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the sponsorship would be or wouldn't be for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we've got some messages out to them, so we're getting into like, the grant opens again in 16 to 18 months, so, Lori Strunk had just written a grant for the mental health navigator, and it took her 9 months to write that, and it was a smaller grant than this is, so we're just, not wanting to dig too far into like data collection and things like that if we're not really gonna end up pursuing it, so.
Do
So
they
we
want-
should, sorry, no, go ahead.
Do they want a sponsor before you submit the grant? Is that something that
I
they,
think that, yes, I would say yes.
so then you would know before
We-
you even
yes.
start doing the work for the grant?
Yes.
Whether it's worth your time?
Yep. Yeah, we can't go, I wouldn't wanna get a grant for it without having the sponsorship. So. So you guys want me to secure a sponsor?
So the next time it's open is when?
16 to 18 months from now, the grant.
Okay, 16 to 18 months, and then assuming, you want 9 months at least to write the grant and do everything. So we're certainly on the front end of when you need to start writing the grant.
Yes.
So again, more than securing the sponsor, it's just making sure we understand, if we do this, are you willing? Without them having to sign on the dotted line.
Right.
I think we're wanting one more, help us understand exactly how this would look
Okay.
again before
Sounds
we start writing the grant
Okay.
and locking down sponsors.
Do you have, the Rochester school, do you have more information, or is that something that we could
I
get the person on, maybe like a Zoom?
I tried to get some more information from her, but she wasn't there when they had started the school-based health center, so she came in after the fact, so she's not really sure what went all into, like, creating that. She came in after it was already done, so, that's kind of where I was at with that. When did we talk to her? Last week? Last
Yes,
Tuesday?
last week.
And is that,
So-
do they have that right in their school then, so they're not off-site?
It's in their school building.
Okay. But it'd be interesting to see her perspective, because she's, even though she didn't start it, she's there helping, how long working, doing this?
I think she said almost 3 years or 3
Yeah,
years.
I mean, that'd be good. I would if you could get her to do it like a Zoom, to where she could explain how it's worked and the positives and the setbacks that they've had.
Yeah.
I mean, since you brought this early enough, we have a little bit of time to do a little research and digest a little bit of it.
It says there's currently 29 of them in the state.
So,
Is it open during the summers for students?
I'm not 100% sure. I would assume yes.
It's a great question.
That is a great question. I've never even thought of that question.
No, we've not discussed
We've not
that.
asked that question.
You are welcome.
Nice job, Mr. Burke.
I would hope so. I would assume that
As
it
long as
is,
they're
but,
enrolled.
yeah.
And then you said that you have to get the parents' consent
Yep.
to do this?
That's the way that she explained it in Rochester. They have 3 different forms that they sign, and so it's kind of like an opt-in to using the school-based health center services. And then they can access that. Obviously, we would be hey, I think your kid might have strep throat.
So does it, and I'm sorry, probably we don't need to dwell on all this, but I just have one eye. So
Okay.
like if somebody were to fall down and get cut, they could do stitches if they're open over there and
Yep.
stuff like that?
It would be, acute visits as well as.
Okay.
Would it be an opt-in at the beginning of the year, or could they opt in
They
the
could,
day of?
I think they could opt in the day of if they can, I can send some parents a form and they can sign it and get it back to me, but, others might not have access to that, so.
But you'd probably put it part, just like a photo release at the beginning of the school year, right?
Right, yeah. At the beginning, it'd be in there like, whole, you know,
It'd be part of the registration
Yes.
process.
right.
That's very interesting.
I appreciate you looking out for all these new opportunities,
Mhm.
like with the EKG screenings and everything else you've been
Yeah.
doing.
I'm
Appreciate it.
trying. I just see a need, like, I just see a gap, like, in my office. I see this huge gap. Like, I'm also working on vision. I've been writing letters to Carlson. I did write letters to vision clinics. Carlson Tillage got in contact with me last year. Matt Downs is an OD over there. And so doing like a mobile vision clinic like we do for the dental clinic, I'm just, like, when I first started, the dental clinic only had 10 kids sign up. And I've got it to over 50 now. We have almost 4 full days at dental clinic where we're servicing our students here in the building with a preventative cleaning. And so vision is my next thing. I've been doing these hearing and vision screenings and all these kids that can't see the top 2 lines on the eye chart and don't have glasses. But then I sent out 28 referrals and only got 4 back, the parents that took them in. So, now, they might take them in and not give me not give me the thing back that said that they took them in, but they're not showing up with glasses, so. It's just been, so I've just seen these huge barriers in this healthcare here at school. And the kids need to be able to see and they need to be healthy to learn, and so try to minimize that gap.
All right,
Good,
any other
thank you.
questions? Do you need anything else from
No,
us?
I don't.
We'll talk about that in a little bit moving forward.
Yeah,
That's an agenda item down below.
Okay,
thank you guys.
all right.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
On to D, budget information.
We have enrollment, so like we know, it's fluid, down just a little bit. Had some students move out of elementary. We know when they're moving out of elementary, it's typically because parents are moving. Nothing that has happened here at school to cause them, it's just the family situation. So,
Have we always had those who leaves on the bottom?
no,
Just
that's
noticed that.
something new that they added this week,
I was gonna say.
so. And I'll have them change it to just tell us the grade and how many, rather than putting names with it.
Any questions? Okay, on to historical cash balances.
I don't know if there's anything you want me to say about it, this is just kind of our 3-year trend data, just kind of showing the ins and outs of our general dollars, the general checking account and our CD, so.
Any concerns?
No, I think it's kind of showing the COVID dollars coming in and over the last few years, so.
Do we have any of that money remaining?
No.
It's all gone?
Yes, a lot of that has ended.
Till next time?
Mhm.
Let's hope there isn't. Wow, I
We
can't
don't
believe you
want
said
it next
that.
time.
How dare you?
Moving on. E, committee reports, non-certified negotiations.
We've met, I don't know, multiple times, but, last Thursday, we came up with a tentative agreement with the clerical, the custodial, and the paras. And they are supposed to be taking it to their members this Wednesday to vote on, so hopefully that will get passed by all 3 of those unions. And, we will be, on 2 out of the 3 unions. One of the things that there'll be if it passes, there'll be a letter what is it called again?
A memorandum of understanding.
Yes, there we go.
MOU.
About the PTO changing to PTO for them, which if we can work the language out, which we kind of agreed it would have to be worked out by May 1st. we would run that starting next year, 2024 through 2025. And if everything goes good, otherwise they can look at renegotiating or pulling it out of the contract for the next contract cycle, which will start in about a year and a half. So,
Okay, food service committee. We met, Wendy and I met with Taher a few weeks ago, a couple weeks ago now. Talked through our concerns and everything. So, then pulled the food service committee together and we talked through how we want to approach this. What we've done is sent them information, letting them know that we are gonna go out for bid again this summer, or this spring, with the option of going out on our own. But then, we did give, we will give them the opportunity to bid for our business again. However, we, also expressed that we are excited to see improvement between now and the end of the year, and that we end on a positive note with them. So, we'll see what happens. I've not heard back from them on, from my email last Tuesday that I sent, so. Wendy, is there anything else to add?
I don't think so.
Were the improvements after the meeting or before the meeting?
The
From what they
improvements
said.
are supposed to be happening after the meeting that we had with them. They had some ideas on different ways they could make things better, starting with the selection of fruit that we're getting, so we get something other than apples and bananas, and if we do have apples, that they're cut up. So that part, from what I could see, is going better, but I still haven't seen much of a selection to have the melons in there, or, those types of fruits. So, and kids,
Probably
correct me
what
if I'm
they've
wrong,
been saying has
I'm not
been better
out there
since
every
we had
day,
that meeting.
but,
Yeah, the fruit is pretty low, but I think it started getting better with the addition of the high school only meals, like as the safe foods that almost everyone will eat.
the third entree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially when they try and do something that's more out of the ordinary, like an eggplant flatbread. You know, it's always nice to have a safe food that most kids will eat if they don't want to try that. So, something like that. There was something.
Yeah,
And then
we have
with the
not.
fruit, you can kind of tell, it feels like it's been frozen, it's just the texture's off. So I don't know if there's anything that can be done about that, but a little off-putting eating it.
Yeah, we do have a lot of apples. Like throughout the week, it's consistently a lot of apples. So that I've noticed, always apples. There's no problem with apples, but
Apple a day.
yeah, I think definitely having some more like melons, as you mentioned, would
Yeah,
be
more
really
variety.
good. Yeah, would be really nice.
Did we get those improvements fixed from like November we talked about in the kitchen? Is all that done?
Yes, that's taken care of.
So we'll be very interested in you guys paying attention over the next, like, between now and your next meeting as to whether there's any improvements. Want to hear from you on that,
Mm-hmm.
because there should be, assuming they'd like to come back.
Right.
Taher, not you. Sorry.
So, but in the meantime, we'll continue to come up with ways to approach other school districts on the possibility of going out on our own, combining. When we were at MSBA, we talked with a few other companies, Chartwell being one of the one that sticks in my mind, that they do have service in Fairmont, New Ulm, Sibley East, so they are down this direction, and they do work with schools around our size. They wanted to bid us last year, but ran out of time, according to the person I talked to there, or couldn't be two places at once. So we'll want to make sure that we reach back out to all the food service places possible when we go out for bid again.
Do you think if we went on our own, we'd be able to flip that staff that's currently in there, outside of the chef and everything like that, to the JWP?
Possibly. As of right now, we only have one that's under JWP, so. Obviously, that's gonna be a big undertaking for us if we go out on our own, as hiring a food service director and then hiring enough people to run the kitchen efficiently.
Which is roughly how many people?
6,
6, 7.
So director plus 6.
I would say director plus 6.
Okay. 6F, fiscal year 2023 audit report.
So this is, Jeremy, if you want to open that
Yep.
up. It's kind of a summary of the full report that the auditors put together for us. So it's a little more digestible, but you'll see a lot more details in the report later, if you care to read all of it. But this is just kind of the highlights here. We worked with Burkhart & Burkhart to audit our financial data. The next slide shows kind of their responsibilities. They put together our financial statements and check over our procedures and make sure that we are suitably controlling and making sure that we're watching for fraud and following proper procedures. So that's kind of that. And the next slide. So they provide an opinion for us if we are complying with government auditing standards. They report on our controls and they check to make sure that we are following the regulations in our state. So you can go ahead to the next slide. This is we had kind of 2 audits. We had a state audit, and this is the summary of our state audit. We received a unmodified or clean opinion, which means we're doing everything as well as we can be. The middle section there is the areas that we can look to improve, and these 3 items are pretty much cut and paste from previous years. Just the size of our district just means that we have less segregation of duties, and the fact that we hire the auditors to prepare our financial statements just means that there's it's just considered a deficiency, but it's not really anything we can do much about. And so we don't have any compliance findings. And then the second part was the federal audit. It's called a single audit, and we don't usually have to do that because we don't usually accept enough federal funds for them to look into everything. But with COVID, we received a whole bunch of federal funds. That means they had to check some things out. So they looked at our food service federal awards and one of our special ed funding buckets, but they found no modifications, no weaknesses, no deficiencies, and we are as compliant as we can be. And then they just have some required communications, just kind of letting us know that, everything is kind of done reasonably, the tests they do and the things they check, and then just kind of some of the assumptions they have and estimates they use to kind of check over our books. So there's really nothing unusual that they found or didn't find any problems with any of the things they checked. And then this kind of summarizes some of the things that they did. They proposed 20 journal entries to adjust some financial things, and that's last year there were 18. So it's just kind of, some of these things are, we just don't have the information at year end, and so then things come in and then the auditors fix it up for us. It's kind of timing things sometimes, and that we were cooperative and our records are available, so they didn't really have any difficulties in performing the audit. So then there's just a summary of the recommendations. Just the material audit adjustments is always an area we can improve. Even though there are some things that we just can't do at year end, there were a few adjustments they did that could have been taken care of. We've got some outstanding checks on our reconciliation report, some checks that are maybe printed a year or 2 years prior that have not been cleaned up. So that's something I will be checking into. And then just late payments, just making sure that we're getting things approved and through the process quickly enough that invoices are paid timely. I think that's it. Is the next slide? Our financial trends. So then there's a few graphs of where our net position is and where our revenue comes from. So we were, general fund revenues were over budget, which is something we've done. We tend to budget our revenues pretty conservatively. And so pulling in more than we expected is kind of what we expected there. Our fund balance, we're the orange bar compared to statewide fund balance. So we, over the years, have been very good at maintaining our healthy balance. And then this is our unrestricted fund balances and our expenditures, just how we're see that trend over the years. And then this kind of breaks out our expenditures on where we're spending our money, just ensuring that we're spending it on educating our kids, which is what most of our money is going to, direct instructed. So, and then our food service and community service fund balances, looking at those over time, and we can see that we've been working to get our food service down so we're not too much compared to regulations and community service. We're growing that back up again, so we're not in the hole in community ed. And then this is the team that worked on our audit at Burkhardt and Burkhardt. So if you have any questions, we can get in touch with them if we need to. Are there any questions or?
No, congratulations.
It was a long process, but I learned a lot.
Well, and I would imagine it was, some of the things was the transition between you and Matt, so there were some things that got missed.
Yep,
And
absolutely.
so
Yeah, the
that's where
timing
some of the
transition
outstanding
for sure.
checks and the
Right.
invoices probably got missed.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Any other questions or comments for Wendy? All right. Move on to number 7, consent agenda. Anybody have any clarifying questions for the consent agenda? Okay, do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Go ahead.
I'll make a motion to approve as noted.
Okay, motion made by Tim Elke. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Tim Burke. Any discussion? If no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries 5-0. Okay, on to old business. Approve of the new strategic plan.
So, after going through this numerous times, and there's still 3 corrections we need to make grammatically, but it doesn't change the meaning of the strategic plan. I think we have our strategic plan completed for the 2024 through 2029. So once the board approves it, I will send it off to the committee, and then our admin team will start writing our action plans on how we're going to accomplish these goals. So the if you want to know the grammatical error, or the grammatical things that I'm working with Gail on getting corrected, is there on objective 4.1, there's an apostrophe at the end of schools that needs to be deleted. And then on objective 7.4, says implement and stay up to date. Up to date should have dashes or hyphens in it.
Any questions on that? Okay, do I have a motion to approve the new strategic plan?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, motion by Tim Burke. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Kevin Bourne. Any discussion? If no further discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries 5-0. Okay, 8B, final readings and approval of new policy with substantial changes.
So this is graduation requirement, and with the state, we had to make some changes to our graduation our graduation requirement policy, specifically in the area of science. So there'll be some changes for students that are graduating in 2025 of which science classes they have to have.
So how would, and I'm just, so how would that work if they're requiring something different and you're gonna be a senior next year graduating? How are we gonna fit that into the schedule if they've already taken all their science courses, but they need other courses? Have we looked into
So
that?
There's something in here that, yeah, it's
Yeah.
not right away.
Students graduating between 2024 and 2027 will not be required to have the earth and space science, and that's the big,
Okay.
that's the newest one that they've put in.
Okay,
So they don't need it, it's just after 2027 they'll have to have it.
okay, all right, thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions?
When will we start offering that?
Next year,
25, 26?
yep, to freshmen,
Mm-hmm.
so then
Yep.
it'll be that graduating year.
Yep.
And all three science teachers have agreed to sit the required test for it, so it gets added to their license.
We're gonna add it to 24, 25.
Yes.
Got it. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, do I have a motion to approve policy 613?
So moved.
Motion by Kevin Bourne. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Tim Burke. Any further discussion? If no further discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay. Motion carries 5-0.
A while back, we had a talk, or Mike Dashner was here talking about skylights and what we're gonna do with them. He did get a firm price on the second skylight, which is in the commons area, for us to do that same thing that we're gonna do here and cover them. The engineering cost would be $7,000, and the quote he got was labor, or materials and labor would be $30,000, so it'd be a total cost of $37,000, just to keep you guys in the loop on, he is continuing with that, and once he has the actual quote from them, we'll be bringing that forward for discussion.
Yeah, this is basically to get rid of it.
It's, yeah,
Cover
to
it.
cover it, yep.
And if we were to try to save it, or
It
it
was 60
was gonna be way
some
more than that.
thousand, yes.
Okay.
So I just said on the table.
So, but once we have that firmed up, I will bring that forward for board approval to move forward with going this route rather than trying to put new plexiglass in it and everything.
Right.
And this would all be done this
As part of
summer,
the-
or part of the whole roofing?
Yep, that's part of the whole
Okay.
roofing project.
Okay. Okay, on to number 9, new business. I'm really gonna get this approval thing under my belt here. I'm gonna be a pro at it by the end of it. Approval of the fiscal 2023 financial audit. So do we have to approve both of these individually or
I
altogether?
don't think so. I think it's just an acknowledgement and agreement with what the auditors have done. This one's a 92-page document, and the management report is a 25-page document. Both of them have been submitted to the state, and just kind of a acknowledgement from the board to approve those documents.
I did notice in between the financial audit and these, it did mention that the corrective action plans, that the superintendent is kind of the overseer, and then, you know, the board is to monitor. Is there anything that we have to complete? Is there anything like that that we have to do?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No, I think it's just an awareness.
Yep.
That these are pieces and,
Okay,
yep.
just wanted to make sure. Okay, any questions on either of those? Okay, do I have a motion to approve the fiscal 2023 financial audit?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Tim Burke, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Tim Elke. Any discussion? If no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion carries 5-0. Approval of agreement concerning instructional staff sharing between New Richland, Heartland, Ellendale, Geneva, and JWP.
Okay, so we have our certified occupational therapy assistant that we share with New Richland. So this would be the contract for her. We sign this every year. It's right around just over $24,000. She's here a couple days a week, working with our students on their occupational therapy plan. That's typically part of their IEP.
I would move to approve the agreement.
Okay. Motion made by Kevin Bourne. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Tim Burke. Any discussion? If no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion carries 5-0.
The next 5 are agreements that we have with Wasika as part of the special education services we get, or that we work with them on. The behavior consultant, the occupational therapist, physical therapist. Third-party billing is Tracy Helms. She is our consultant for that, and she's our specialist. We pay her a little bit of money so we can receive a significant amount money from the state for third-party billing. And then the other is our special education administration, which includes Angie Lund, who does our special education coding for finances, Villy, who is the secretary, so we pay for a portion of her time, and then the assistant and director of special education for us.
Do we have to approve each one of these separately?
I would suggest that we would approve them separately, yes.
Okay. Okay, so do I have a motion to approve the behavior consultant agreement with staff sharing between Wasika and Janesville?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Tim Elke. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Tim Burke. Any further discussion? If no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carries 5-0. You okay, Madden?
Such a bad tickle in my throat.
You can get up and get a drink of water if you need to. Okay, do I have a motion to approve the occupational therapist agreement concerning instructional staff between Waseca and Janesville?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Tim Burke. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Tim Elke. Is there any discussion? If no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carries 5-0. Any discussion on the physical therapist? Is there a motion to approve the physical therapist agreement between Waseca and Janesville?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Tim Burke. Is there a second?
So moved.
Second by Kevin Board. Is there any further discussion? If no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carries 5-0. Is there a motion for the third-party billing specialist agreement between Waseca and Janesville?
I'll make the motion to approve.
Motion by Tim Burke. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Don't all speak at once. Second by Tim Elke. Any further discussion? If no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carries 5-0. Is there a motion to approve special education administration agreement between Waseca and Janesville?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Tim Burke. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Katie Cahill. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Motion carries 5-0.
The next part. What?
You want me to move just right to it, or do you want to talk about it?
You can move right to it.
Okay. 9D, approval to move David Rysdam from interim high school principal to high school principal. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve David Rysdam from interim high school principal to high school principal.
Motion made by Katie Cahill,
I'll second.
seconded by Tim Burke. Is there any further discussion?
I'd like to say that I've been nothing but impressed with Mr. Rysdam and the work that he's done. He sticks to his guns when he says he's gonna get something done and follows through with it. I've been just so proud of the work that he's done and hope that we can keep him for a number of years.
Would this then make his his former position permanent, or would we have to, is that in your contract next year, what he was in?
As a social studies teacher,
Yeah.
it would open up. So it's, yes, we could offer it to that person. However, she's getting married and moving to Iowa.
Oh.
So,
Okay.
If no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carries 5-0. 9E, any questions on approving Jess Elke as speech head coach?
I would make a motion to approve.
Motion made by Kevin Board. Second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Tim Burke.
I'm gonna abstain.
Tim Elke is going to abstain from the vote. Any further discussion? If no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries 4-0 with one abstention. 9F. So there's quotes to purchase a new camera system and Halo vape detector.
okay, so, we got this quote today because we've been working with Rhombus and a few other companies on new camera systems. They also have vape detectors that are part of it. The camera system we would like to go to is through Rhombus. Like, we've demoed cameras from Rhombus and from one or two other companies, and these were the ones that we like the best. They're the most user-friendly. If we don't want to use a Rhombus camera, we don't have to, but we can still use the Rhombus system. For example, the Halo vape detectors are not made by Rhombus, but Rhombus supports them. So we did get a call on late last week, I think it was Thursday afternoon. Adam kind of came running into my office and said they can give us a great deal if we can sign a contract by the end of January, because it's their year end and everything else. I said, okay, how great of deal, because there's always that catch. So he did, I asked him to get quotes for a 5-year contract, a 10-year contract, and both if we were to sign now compared to if we were to sign after January 31st. My recommendation would be that we would go to use Rhombus 10-year, and we would sign before January 31st. So it'd be $154,296.28. And that would be 10 years of support, technology support with that system. The other thing, if we were to not sign and we sign after January 31st, it is $180,000. So it's saving us, I don't know what my number was, but close to $25,000 by signing early, or by signing now. And then if we look at the Halo detectors, those will cost us $25,300. So our best guess when we were going through crunching all the numbers, saying vape detectors, new camera system, all state-of-the-art, it's gonna cost around $200,000 was our best guess when we were talking about the leftover dollars from the building project that we just completed. So this is gonna cost, if we were to go the way we're suggesting, or I'm suggesting, or recommending, it will cost us about $180,000. That'll be all new cameras and vape detectors throughout the building.
Will there be any additional cameras added or just new to what's already existing, like in
Actually,
locations, or you
Plug
can?
and play.
They're all plug and play, and we're not gonna need as many as we currently have, because they're all, we are looking at getting a number of 360 cameras, so they will cover a larger area. And we're able to, with these cameras, we're able to zoom in 200 feet, and we don't have any hallways 200 feet long. Parking lot, right now, we have 4 cameras on each post. In the parking lot, we'd only need 2 cameras on each post, so.
Do we have a concern of technology's advancing daily? You know,
Yes.
for signing in on a 10-year agreement?
I sat down and talked to Mike and Adam about that. If that's a concern, do we wanna do 5-year, do we wanna do 10-year? Adam's thought is we wanna do 10-year, because if we have to re-sign in 5 years, it's gonna cost us more than the difference between 5-year and 10-year.
How long was our current system?
Oh my gosh,
Roughly?
roughly, Mike was here for 8 years, and we had our current system when Bruce was here, so it had to be 10 to 12 years.
So the 10 years, what are we getting for the 10 years compared to the 5 years? Because you're not gonna get, the cameras are all gonna be, you're not getting upgraded cameras, you know, every year. So what's the 10-year, what are we getting for 10 years compared to 5 years?
Just the the yearly account that we have to hold with them. So we get a
Support.
The
discounted rate.
licenses,
Yeah, the licenses, sorry.
So this doesn't
Each year.
repair anything, we have to buy new cameras if something goes faulty. I would venture to guess, probably.
Probably, yes.
Do we know what the warranty period is on the cameras? Whether
Um,
we sign a 5 or 10-year agreement?
I don't remember, and I don't remember Adam saying.
Yeah.
That's why probably the second 5 years is only $51,000 difference.
Or is that part of like the storage of the video, and is that included
Yeah, this
in
is
that?
a complete cloud-based system, so we don't store any of the information on site we won't store any information on site any longer.
I mean, I briefly looked through it, but I didn't see a warranty.
I don't see one on here.
During-
either.
And
Quote
it
doesn't
won't
have
change
anything.
based on 10 versus 5.
No, but it'd be nice to know what the original warranty
Sure.
is. I mean, is it a 1 year, but if we went with some other one, they give you a 3-year? You know, with the way electronics break nowadays, it's just something I was wondering about.
Knock on wood, the cameras we have now, we haven't had many issues with them breaking over the years,
Yeah.
so.
And then the Halo vape detector on that quote, we have a yearly cloud fee that we have to pay them, so it's an annual fee.
Yep.
And is this, that can get changed every year? We're not locking in on that one for more than just purchasing the vape detectors and the 1-year service?
Right, the 1 year, the setup fee, per year, it's 55, no, that's not,
Like $2,500 or something?
$2,500, yep,
Okay. So that'll be a yearly expense.
yep.
Okay.
from the
Well-
way they're,
Well worth it if we can stop even one student.
No,
from
no,
vaping.
I'm not disagreeing, I just wanna make sure that,
And the Halos are top of the line, best ones out there.
from the way their warranty reads, Tim, it's per product. So whatever model camera they get, or whatever model, whatever, it's whatever that product warranty is.
you might wanna have them update their contact person, since Mike Birding isn't here anymore.
Yes, I can do that.
So how does the vape detector like work simplified?
Simplified,
Or like how does it work? Like
it detects fumes from a vape, but it detects only vape fumes. So if somebody sprays perfume in there, it will alert us, but it will tell us it's not a vape. But it will detect, but it can tell the difference between vape, marijuana, perfumes, any cover-ups that they try and put in there. So it will tell us what it is in most cases, and it has to get to a certain level for it to alert us. And then it goes to our phone, it texts us, emails us, and then the cameras turn on when it's detected, so we see everybody going in and out of the bathrooms for a certain amount of time after that.
But just to clarify, there are no cameras in the bathroom.
No
No,
cameras
yeah.
in the bathrooms, they're
Just to
outside of the
clarify.
bathrooms. Thank you for clarifying that, Tim.
Have we seen this in other schools of the cameras and the vape detectors, that they're reliable, not gonna?
Maple River put them in their new school, and they added more their second year of their new school.
And they haven't had problems with any of it?
No issues.
and then how does the staff go about it like once it happens? Like does everyone who went into the bathroom at that time get questioned or like searched or like what happens at that point?
Possibly searched, and questioned.
Okay.
So that's up to the principals on how that, principal and school resource officer on how they handle that. Because a lot depends, if they have a vape on them, it might be different than if they have a vape that has an illegal substance in it. So it's a chain reaction from the principal and school resource officer.
Okay.
So here you are asking us to approve 10-year.
My recommendation, coming from Adam and Mike Dashner, who have done most, if not all, this research along with Sheila, the recommendation is 10-year contract, and that we sign now, just to keep our costs down. And then also which would include the halo detection. And money would come from the dollars that our community have allowed us to use how we feel fit.
Any other questions?
So this is locking us into basically a 10-year rate, and that they can't increase their service fees or their maintenance fees or anything during those 10 years.
Right.
And if we want, I mean, because obviously we're not seeing the contract itself. But if we want out, any idea what that looks like if we want out?
It's all of our stuff. We purchased it, so we get out.
But you're prepaying all of the
10
service
years.
fees ahead of time, right?
We're,
Pay them.
the license is for the audio and the enterprise, and it's cloud-based.
Yep.
So we're prepaying that, are we not? For the 10 years of, not saying they're holding our data for 10 years, but just that maintenance of those servers, we're prepaying all of that in advance. Is that right?
To honestly answer your question, I don't know if we're prepaying it or if we're getting billed annually for our yearly subscription. It isn't broken down on their quote.
I mean, the way it says 10-year license and the price, I would think we're paying for the whole 10 years.
It's the way it appears on the quote, yes.
So, and this company, I've seen it work both ways. That they will send a renewal notice every year and do multiple years, you know, so it,
Yeah, no, I understand. We do a lot with software. I mean, SolidWorks for engineering, our back-end ERP system. So, I mean, I get that. I'm just trying to, without actually seeing the contract, it's hard to, I just don't want to see us stuck with any type of potentially maintenance fees that rise over the 10 years, or if we want out because the service just isn't as great as we thought it would be, you know, that we may not get back some money, but again, 10 years is a long time, that's all.
Have they provided references?
Yes.
And again, I'm sure the majority of the money is to the actual products themselves. I would expect at least 80%. And 20% is probably license fees.
Because what is it, for the 5-year to the 10-year, went up like, was it like $30,000?
Yes.
So that's roughly what, because it's the same number of cameras and all that, so really we're gonna
Right.
look at, do we wanna take without having the contract, do we wanna take the potential risk of $30,000 if we wanna get out in 5 years and we can't recoup any of it? That's,
Yeah, yep,
without, like you said, without being able to see, yeah, hey, it'll be prorated if you decide to leave, mutually agreeable in
Right.
5 years. I don't know.
I mean, obviously, if I'm the tech director, I'd like to lock something in so I don't have to think about it again. Certainly, I'm sure you feel like 10 years or 12, we were pushing our current system to you wouldn't want to go any longer.
Correct.
So I would assume we'll get to the same place with this as well, that you're going to get to that 10 years. You'll probably even update some cameras before that, would be my bet. you're not gonna be able to run all these 100 and whatever number of cameras and not have some updates between now and then. My experience is the technology has gotten poorer, not better, as far as just how long the cameras are gonna last, but
Yeah, the ones I'd be most concerned about would be our outdoor cameras.
exactly. Yep,
Been around since 2016, not 10 years yet.
so,
The reference out of Canada, where they have outdoor cameras at that one, came back positive. So,
yeah, I mean, we had budgeted, the money for it, it's coming in, so to speak, under budget. I have no problem with not making a motion to approve your Rhombus proposal for 10 years. It's signed before the 31st, in addition to adding the halo. Yep, go ahead, Sherry.
The Halo, this is, the cloud is the per year, so are you guys aware that every year you're gonna have to pay for the cloud services?
$2,500.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep, so halo's just for 1 year.
okay,
The assets plus 1 year of cloud service.
okay. I'm sorry, Kevin, continue.
So again, my motion would be to approve the 10-year contract with Rhombus, in addition to purchasing the vape detectors on the Halo contract and the 1-year service subscription. Do we want to look, so that's my motion. I'll
Can we
leave it
put
at
them
that.
together, or do we have to do separate?
You can put them together.
Okay.
So just to clarify, so your motion was the 10-year Rhombus before January 31st and the Halo vape detector?
As currently written.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay. I'll second that motion.
Okay, so, Annika, do you need me to repeat the motion?
Nope, I got it.
Okay, so motion by Kevin Bourne, second by Tim Elke. Any discussion?
Do we want to look at Halo at a longer-term contract to reduce that 2,500? Typically, they, again, if we would sign a 5-year, they would reduce that fairly substantially. So you might, even if we approve and move forward, I would still recommend we look at that. Because Halo's not saying we have to sign by the 31st.
Correct.
So we could come back and revisit that one, or we could treat them separately. Why not look at a multi-year contract with Halo if we can get a substantial savings? And maybe they did look into that.
I don't remember seeing a multi-year quote for Halo. But absolutely, that's something we can look into.
So
So we
Sherry,
could separate them.
Sherry, how would you like to handle that?
So you can amend your,
Mhm.
just do an amendment to
Mhm.
your motion.
Since we're in discussion, others agree that maybe let's have our technology director at least check and see what options are on the Halo detector and annual license fee for a longer term.
I'm
Okay.
in agreement.
Then I would amend my motion to only be,
So you wanna
Rhombus 10 year.
amend your motion? Oh, my goodness.
yep, I'd like to amend my motion to only be approval of the 10-year contract with Rhombus.
Okay. So
Is there
then,
a second for my amendment?
is there a so Kevin Bourne, okay, you with me?
I got you.
Is there a second?
I'll
For the amended motion?
I'll second Kevin's thing for the 10-year Rhombus before January 31st.
Okay,
The
second,
amendment.
the second.
Mhm.
Tim Elke seconded the amendment. Any further discussion? Please say no. All those in favor, say aye.
Of the amendment.
Of the amendment.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All All those opposed, say nay. Motion carries 5-0.
So the motion is now amended,
The motion, okay,
and now
so,
we have discussion still open on the amended motion.
For the Halo vape.
For the Halo vapes.
okay.
No. No, we're only on Rhombus, because we amended the motion.
Yes.
So now we're only talking about the motion that was made to accept the 10-year Rhombus, not Halo.
So what did we just motion then?
You
What did
The
we
amendment.
approve?
You approved the amendment.
We approved the
my
amendment
motion.
on the original motion, now we have to
Now
go
we
on
have
the
to-
amended
You're
motion.
splitting it into two.
We're not
Okay.
splitting it in, well,
No, you have to,
Yep.
you have the
Now we have to
motion.
go back and vote
Now
on
you have
that.
to,
Correct.
you amended the motion, you have to approve the amendment, and now you have to approve the motion.
Okay,
so any more discussion on the motion first?
any more discussion on the motion to approve the Rhombus, right?
10-year deal.
10-year contract signed before January 31st.
Correct.
Will it still be a smooth process since Mike Birding's on the quote for the rhombus, but
It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Adam's on the, okay.
Yeah.
How did they come up with this company out of New Jersey? Is it something that's done by other, I was just looking up
Rhombus?
information about, no, just
Oh,
the
about SHI?
It's a company that
As the
Adam works
distributor?
for.
So they've done it in the
Yep.
area with other local schools and
Yep.
that kind of thing, okay.
And it's a state of Minnesota state contract. So,
So we need a second on that?
No,
no, we've already got a
We're on
motion and a
discussion
second,
yet.
and we're
Oh,
on
okay.
discussion.
I don't have any discussion.
So then if no further discussion, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Motion carries 5-0. So we're all good with the Rhombus 10-year, right?
Correct.
Yes.
So the question would be simply on the Halo.
Okay.
Do you need any motion tonight, or shall we wait and see what comes back in 30 days?
I would, what I'd look for in a motion is to,
I think we should approve it as is pending.
no, there's a
No,
way
we
we
wanna
can do it.
table it,
We
right?
can table it, but that's not,
No,
It's
we'll
not
have
the new
to,
terminology.
yeah.
we'll have to postpone indefinitely.
There
There
you
you go,
go.
that's the new
Yep.
terminology.
So,
So you'll look for a motion to postpone the Halo vape detector quote
yeah,
indefinitely.
indefinitely.
I'll
That
make a
means it
motion.
comes back at our next meeting,
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
that gives us a chance to get a multi-year quote.
Yep.
Yep, if you're okay with that.
I'll make a
I'm good with
motion to
that.
postpone indefinitely.
Okay. Tim Burke makes a motion.
I'll second it.
Tim Elke seconds to postpone indefinitely the Halo vape detector until we can maybe get a different quote. Any further discussion? If no further discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Motion carries 5-0. All right.
You're welcome.
Not what I wanted to do on my first official meeting on my own, especially with Laura not here.
You're doing just fine.
You're doing great.
9G, discussion of the school resource officer contract.
Just wanted to make everybody aware that that contract, is coming to sunset on the end of the school year. So we will, be bringing that up in the future of, renewing that contract with the if we choose to renew the contract with the city. I know one proposal that, Chief Johnson has had is possibly extending it out to a 4-year contract rather than a 2-year contract. The main reason is just because it's tough to find work, or tough to find full-time work right now for some people, to attract full-time employees, and this would be a way, knowing that, okay, having a longer contract with the school would be an easier way to attract full-time employees for law enforcement.
So he wants to look at going a 4-year because it'll help him attract employees.
Right, because the issue is they have 5 full-time employees. The chief, or 4, sorry, the chief, the sergeant, the school resource officer, and then another one. And if it's only a 2-year contract, it's hard to attract those, but if it's a 4-year, he thinks it may be easier to attract.
Although he hasn't had any trouble fulfilling that role so far.
Right, I don't know if they've fulfilled it or not as the.
The
'cause they-
SRO position?
Not the SRO, because they have to have somebody to cover the SRO position.
Okay.
With Sheila in the building, that takes one of their,
Right, so they're not signing anything longer than what the SRO contract is because they're
Yes.
worried that if we quit it, there'll be an officer ahead.
yes.
Do you mind sending us the contract ahead of time?
I will do
Please.
that.
So you're just prepping us for the
I'm just
discussion
prepping
coming
for the
up?
discussion coming up, yep. Letting you know that that is coming to an end.
Sunset in the end of
and-
24
Yeah.
school year.
And then, also with that, since that's gonna be coming up, it'd be nice to have, because we have no control over the or the salary of the school resource officer, so that we could get what because that, was it the last one, went up quite a bit because
Yes, it
of the
did.
insurance and everything else that they had to do. So if we could get that early too, so we can look at that.
Yep,
And I'd like to understand what kind of funding there is to help cover the cost of that, or is it 100% just on us? Doesn't need to be talked about
right,
now.
right, so,
Just like to understand how it's all covered, kind of like special education.
when you figure that one out, let me know.
I don't want to go there.
So,
Okay. 9H, approval to move forward with the School-Based Health Alliance grant.
So this was just what Laura was here for tonight, to talk about what she knows. So just looking for approval to continue to move forward, not signing anything major or anything, just is it worth her spending time to continue moving forward or looking into this process?
Any questions?
So I would make a motion to approve Laura continuing to look into the School-Based Health Alliance grant.
Okay.
Second.
Motion made by Kevin Board, second by Tim Burke. Any further discussion?
So my motion is more about looking into it than it is about approval to move forward with the grant. Just clarifying.
Yep,
If no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carries 5-0. Okay. Resolution accepting donations. I can't read that far away, so I will do it from here. We received from Waseca Area Foundation $270 for FFA jackets, and Minnesota Association of FFA $190 for FFA SEA mini grant. Do I have a motion to approve the resolution accepting donations with many thanks?
I'll make a motion to approve with many thanks.
Motion by Tim Burke. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Tim Elke. Any further discussion?
This is a roll call,
Yep.
right?
Burke,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Dashner,
Yes.
Cahill,
Yes.
Elke.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. We have upcoming meetings, February 12th at 5:30, regular school board meeting. March 4th at 5:30, school board study session, followed by a finance and operations committee meeting. Then March 18th at 5:30, a regular school board meeting. Nothing else? Meeting is adjourned at 7:15.
Monica, is it because I downloaded this a little too early? But usually we have that list of donations on here, a link to it.
No.